So I would have made this earlier, but during the time between part 1 and this video, HBO decided to take down all of the Harry Potter movies from their platform. So I had to dust off the old CD player and dig for the Harry Potter movies, which I found them. But then when I played them on my TV, it looked like this. What is this? This is like 480p, and it's like squashed harder than my balls when I wear jeans. And then it turns out I don't even have the HalfBlood Prince on DVD, so I had to go onto Amazon and rent it for $4. $4? I'm just a poor college student. How is this movie not free? Whatever, let's watch episode 5, The Phoenix Strikes Back. So the Order of the Phoenix it's interesting. I actually think it's pretty good. Like, I think it's one of the most enjoyable Harry Potter movies. Dolores Umbridge is probably the best villain in the movies, besides, I guess, Voldemort. But, like, the side villains, she's definitely the best. She's just so much more entertaining and is, like, an actual character instead of the other side villains. Umbridge is basically an ultra-conservative, by-the-books, strict teacher. She has this awesome montage where she just makes more and more rules and then goes around Hogwarts just enforcing all of them. It's so campy and over the top, and it works so well with this universe. The Order of the Phoenix also has the best wizard fight out of any of these movies. They don't just stand around doing this. I'm sorry, but I hate it when they do this. This is so boring. In this fight, they're actually using different spells and trading blows. This is what I expect from a wizard fight, and it delivers. And there's a lot of great things in this film. I think our actors have graduated to that level where they're actual good actors now. And the music is good, the special effects are great. But you didn't come here to just let me ramble on of why I like this movie. Because there's a lot of silly stuff in this movie, and it's really bad. And it starts off at the very beginning. The movie starts out with Harry hanging out at his local playground, and then Dudley appears, who has now turned into a crackhead.
She dead?
And now goes by the name Big D.
Hey, Big D.
Who also hangs out at the local playground with his fashionable friends.
No.
Then Harry gets expelled for using magic outside of school, but then he is saved by this group of characters that I like to call the extras. This group of characters is one of the most thrown together, pointless, and silly things about these last 4 movies. Like, you don't know any of these people, or why they're important, or even their names.
Not here, Nymphadora.
Don't call me Nymphadora.
Like, am I supposed to know that? Is that supposed to be like a fan servicey moment for the book readers? I'm sorry, I didn't read the books. Can someone please explain? Then there's Mad-Eye Moody, who we know nothing about, because the Mad-Eye Moody we know was Doctor Who. We don't know anything about this dude. All these characters are pretty much pointless, and I don't even know like half their names. I think this guy's name is Kingsley, and that's Mad-Eye, and then I think that's Nymphadora. I don't know. She said don't call her that, but that's all I know her by, so that's what I'm gonna call her. Then Harry has a trial for his expulsion from Hogwarts to try and fight against that. And so during the trial, the minister is like afraid of Voldemort. So the entire ministry and everybody else in the world denies his existence. But Dumbledore says,
Cornelius, I implore you to see reason. The evidence that the Dark Lord has returned is incontrovertible.
which is weird because there really isn't that much evidence. All you have is an eyewitness and a dead Cedric Diggory. Now hear me out. If you were a wizard who wanted to commit a murder and wanted to get away with it, blaming the most evil figure in wizard history sounds like a good idea. But to everyone else in the world, they think Voldemort is dead. So it honestly sounds like Harry is trying to cover up the murder of Cedric Diggory by blaming a dead murderer. So I'm gonna have to side with the Ministry on this one and saying there's not that much evidence. Cho Chang is also in this movie. Why, you ask? Well, I don't know. Because this is her arc in this movie. She feels sad about Cedric's death, but she likes Harry. And throughout the film, she grows to get over Cedric's death and get with Harry. Like, listen to Harry talk about how Cedric died.
He was really good. It's just Voldemort was better.
Yeah, Harry, I'm sure that'll make her feel good about it. But then, she rats out the group about practicing magic, and then nobody ever talks to her again. But then, we find out later that she was given some truth-telling potion, and that's why she ratted everybody out. But then, nothing happens. It just ends there. That's it. Total waste of fucking time. Also, after the final battle, Voldemort tries to possess Harry's mind, in which we have glimpses of what's going through Harry's mind with memories of friendship and how much he loves them. But then it's cross-cut with these tiny clips of Voldemort making these weird faces against a green screen. Like what is this? This looks like a bad early 2000s music video. Despite all these things, I still like this movie. I just find it so entertaining. This is an actual fun, enjoyable, exciting Harry Potter film. The acting's great, Harry growing into a teacher and leader is good, and the pacing is really well done. It's the shortest film so far, and it just feels so much better. I'm all for shorter Harry Potter films. Having them longer just gives the movie way too much time to add stupid shit. The directing is good, a little spotty in some areas. I don't know why we're using shaky cam here. But overall, David Yates, who's the director and will direct the rest of these movies going forward, does a really good job of telling the story. There's not an overabundance of exposition or random subplots. The Order of the Phoenix book is the longest Harry Potter novel, so David Yates had to trim a lot of this stuff out, and I think he did a really good job deciding what stays in and what doesn't. 7 out of 10. A good Harry Potter film.
Like your stupid mother, it'll tell you everything.
So when I saw this movie in theaters in 2009, I was 11 years old, and it put me to sleep.
I know I ought not to be here. The Dark Lord himself forbade me to speak of this.
If the Dark Lord has forbidden it...
So I was not looking forward to watching this one, but I watched it anyway, and it's really not that bad. The Half-Blood Prince is about Harry returning to Hogwarts and trying to help Dumbledore spy on a new teacher that they recruited to obtain a memory that could help defeat Voldemort. However, it's not as simple as that. This movie has a lot going on in it, and it's more of a romantic drama than it is a wizard adventure for the majority of the runtime. There's Harry and Jenny's relationship, there's Ron and Hermione's relationship, there's Ron's relationship with this girl that I don't know her name, but that's in it too. It's about Harry and Dumbledore's relationship. It's about Harry spying on Slughorn. It's about Snape protecting Malfoy. It's about Malfoy struggling with his mission to kill Dumbledore. There's literally just so much stuff in this movie that it's actually surprising that this movie isn't worse. Now, that being said, I do have to mention that this movie has the absolute worst color grading and lighting out of any of the Harry Potter films. Oh yeah, I love squinting when I watch movies. Along with some very odd musical choices. Like, listen to this. This doesn't sound very magical, but it's a very character-driven movie. It's all about our three main characters and how their relationships grow and change between themselves and other supporting characters. And honestly, I don't mind it. It does tend to drag on a little bit in some scenes. The Half-Blood Prince is one of the longest films in the franchise, but the dialogue and script is solid and it keeps you engaged. Surprisingly, this long Harry Potter film didn't want to make me go to sleep. And it all feels like very small stakes. I mean, until the end. But besides that, everything seems very low-key. Now, what really bothers me in this film is the ending. It's the third act. The third act of this film starts with Harry and Dumbledore going to find a Horcrux. How does Dumbledore know where this is? Doesn't matter, don't ask questions. Blah blah blah. A few minutes later, Dumbledore forces himself to drink Coors Light and wants to die moments later. And then they go back to Hogwarts. Then Dumbledore gets blicked, and then Harry chases down Snape, and then Snape says this line.
Yes. I'm the Half-Blood Prince.
Now ask yourselves, why does it matter that Snape is the Half-Blood Prince? I'll give you all the time you need. The short answer is that it doesn't matter. What does this reveal mean for Harry, or even for us? It doesn't mean anything. If you look at it thematically, wouldn't it make more sense for Voldemort to be the Half-Blood Prince? Throughout the franchise, they play at the fact that Harry and Voldemort are extremely similar. Harry can talk to snakes, Voldemort can talk to snakes. Voldemort's a half-blood, Harry's a half-blood. Harry even goes out of his way to recite lines spoken by Tom Riddle earlier in the film. This reveal of Snape being the Half-Blood Prince doesn't do much for Harry. What is he supposed to get from this? That he's similar to Snape now? But who cares? Snape is a supporting character in all of these movies. But at this point in the franchise, who cares? I mean, the movie has a fucking funeral for a spider. 6 out of 10. Better than I thought it would be.
But your spirit lingers on.
These are dark times, there is no denying.
The Deathly Hallows, which was split into 2 movies because they really wanted to explore the last novel and death filmmakers really care about the filmmakers really care about the Harry Potter. The Deathly Hallows Part 1 is fucking boring. And I gave this movie a chance. I really did. The first act isn't that bad, and I thought for a second that this might be a fun, exciting, entertaining Harry Potter film. And of course, the second I say that, they decide to sit in a forest for an hour. Let me try and explain the plot of this film. So apparently, Harry is underage and is still on some magical record by the Ministry of Magic, which means that they can find you and know exactly where you are, what you're doing, and what you do. Okay, let me start over. So Harry is hiding from the bad guys because he's underage, and that's important because the Ministry of Magic can track you easily if you're underage. Why haven't they done this in previous films? I don't know. Whatever. Harry is on the run. All right, that's pretty much the best I can do. He's on the run from the bad guys, and Voldemort's wand has erectile dysfunction, and that's pretty much it. I'll try and say some positives about it. Like I said, the first act really isn't that bad. I mean, besides the fact that they added this stupid plot device about the Ministry being able to track Harry, or this Mario Kart style lineup. And now apparently everyone can apparate anywhere. So why do we have to do this silly opening chase scene? Why don't we just go to the burrows like now? You know, the more I think about it, the more I'm not liking any parts of this movie. Like, first of all, why are we even transporting Harry somewhere if he can be tracked and found anyway? And guess what? They find him anyway. Like, go figure. Obviously this would happen. How did you guys not see this in the foreseeable future? And then after all that time they spent setting up the plot device of the Ministry being able to track Harry, they literally just gloss over like, oh, we missed your birthday, Harry. Like, how convenient for the plot. This movie is just full of shit like that. It's so uncreative in the way it progresses the plot. I'm not even joking. We sit in a forest for like 30 minutes, and then Harry kisses the golden snitch, and it reveals a message which he then shows Hermione, and then they just kind of stop talking about it. And then Harry realizes they haven't done anything for a while, and he just says that he feels like they should go to Godric's Hollow.
Hermione, I've been thinking. I want to go to Godric's Hollow.
Because he's feeling nostalgic. They are both just like, yeah, I'm sure that will lead us to doing something important. And during all of this, Voldemort is just searching for the Elder Wand because his wand just doesn't work anymore. But he never really gets any actual scenes in this movie. It's just Harry having visions of what he's doing. Like, why would you not want to level out this boring, slow-paced stuff with something actually interesting? And then they try and save it with this strange climax at Malfoy Manor, where Hermione changed Harry's face, but is still clearly identifiable, and they ask Draco to identify him. But he doesn't because he doesn't want to rat them out. But the thing is, Draco's dad knows what Harry looks like, and so does Bellatrix. But they still act like they don't know what he looks like. And it's an even more dead giveaway that they're with Hermione and Ron. Like, what, did you forget the past 6 movies, you idiots? And then Harry has this shard of a mirror / piece of glass that is something. I don't know what this is. And then he asks for help from it. And then Dobby appears. Like, what is going on? I don't read the books. I'm watching the movies. What is this? And how did he get it? I know it may seem like I'm really shitting on this movie, but it's not the worst. Goblet of Fire still holds that title. But I didn't get much out of it. I was just so bored. It's full of stupid plot devices that are then immediately thrown to the side to make room for other ones. There are good moments in this film, I won't lie. The interactions between our 3 main characters are good. The dialogue is well written. And Ron actually has a reason in this movie to be mad and leave. Also, Dobby dies, which is for some reason so sad. Like, if they did one thing right, it was this scene. He's not even in the movies that much. Like, he's in the Chamber of Secrets, and that's like it, I'm pretty sure. I don't know, I can't remember. There's so much Harry Potter in my goddamn mind right now. My problem with this film really isn't the characters or any technical aspect of the film, but more of the plot itself and the what and how and why things happen. I don't get it. I think it's stupid. 4 out of 10. Don't be mad at me.
Tastes like goblin piss.
Now we've reached the last movie of the original Harry Potter films, The Deathly Hallows Part 2, which is an extremely fast-paced film that fits right under 2 hours if you exclude the credits. And if you were paying attention earlier, you know that I love it when they keep these movies short. And this is no exception. This movie is fun, it's gripping, and it wraps everything up. And most importantly, it's entertaining. And that's what I would like to talk about, because it is not a perfect movie. There are a few things that bugged me in this film, and the beginning to this movie is pretty forgettable. But once Harry gets to Hogwarts, ooh, everything is just so entertaining, and the action is great. I love movies where the heroes have to defend and hold a location. It just reminds me of Saving Private Ryan and countless video game missions. I'm a sucker for stuff like that. I also like that people die. I know that sounds weird, but having characters die raises the stakes and also pushes the characters to do things they wouldn't normally do. But as much as I love this film, there's still a ton of ridiculous, silly stuff in it. The first thing of note is, as I mentioned, the beginning is quite forgettable. And this is because it starts a little slow and they don't really talk about anything important. They just kind of talk about some wands and then kind of skip ahead to the bank heist sequence, which is fun, but when I was recording this and making this, I realized that I completely forgot that this scene was even in the movie. It's just nowhere near as important, or it doesn't feel as important as the rest of the film. I just noticed this, but why is school still going on? Like, why are these kids going to Hogwarts? What parents are letting these kids go to school where the headmaster got murdered on school grounds? Like, I'm sorry, I'm pulling my kid out. Especially since the teachers, like, beat the students now. Like, is there no letter writing or communication between students and the parents now? Like, this school should be shut down. And holy shit, Cho Chang is back. I knew they wouldn't just leave her out of another movie. Then, like, 2 minutes later, Harry reveals himself to Snape and the rest of the school. And then they push Snape out of Hogwarts. And then Voldemort tries to convince everyone via the mine to capture Harry and bring him to him. And so, just one scared Slytherin girl says to grab Harry. Then the rest of the school is like, nah, we're not going to do that. And then Professor McGonagall decides to banish all of Slytherin to the dungeons. Yeah, that seems smart. Let's put a quarter of our wizards in the dungeon. Because just one scared little person didn't want to die today. And holy shit, the editing of the final battle is horrendous. Look at this awkward jump cut. Jenny's here, and now she's here. Also, why is everybody else just watching? I'm sure she could use some help. There's this scene on the stairs where they over-edit the shit out of it. And then there's this scene where Harry seems to be in trouble being choked to death. And then we just cut away from it and never learn how he got out of it. I mean, honestly, I don't really have a lot to say about the Deathly Hallows Part 2. But besides the few criticisms that I have and the lackluster beginning, I think it's a great conclusion to this franchise and is directed, acted, and scripted very well. It's definitely one of the most rewatchable Harry Potter films, I think, and does a great job of standing above a lot of the other films in this franchise. 8 out of 10, a satisfying ending. That's it. That's the Harry Potter franchise. However, we aren't done just yet. In the next video, I will be finishing this series out by reviewing the 2 Fantastic Beasts movies, which will be my first viewing of those films, and in the video I will also be revealing my final rankings for all 10 movies. The part that actually matters, I guess. Not really, but whatever.